That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Yeah. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
First of all, we need to update our intro video pictures and stuff, because that stuff was like 8 years ago with all of our photos and stuff.
Look, I'm down for that. I think I've suggested that, guys.
Yeah, I think you did.
You got to go out and turn your GoPros on.
Yeah, I mean, I got some videos and stuff like that, but yeah, we'll have to get that updated and stuff. But hey, guys, thanks for jumping on here. Fishing Friday Live. This is also going to be dropped on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, all that stuff. And we got a cool guest on the show. It's just Ben and myself tonight. We got our good buddy Seth Ellis going to be joining us. But before we get cracking at what we're going to be talking about, head on over to onecastfishing.com and use the code TheOneCast, all one word, at checkout. Get your hands on all the snagless jigs, weedless nets, soft plastics, long neck hooks, and everything else you need to catch those hot summertime bass. And it is hot. Also, before your next fishing adventure, download the Deep Dive app. It's got a ton of great features. You can go to your Play Store or App Store, download that, pay for that annual subscription. It's going to help you guys break down a bunch of bodies of water, and they got tons of different features on there. It's going to help you catch more bass. Use that link we provide you guys in the description all the time, or you can go to our link tree. It's going to take you right to Hobie Eyewear. You're going to save 15% on your order there. Get your hands on all the different lenses and frames. We love the floating frames. They got new colored frames out from Upcycle Kayak Plastic. Really cool, flashy, catchy, and a lot of them match all your kayaks. So make sure you head on over there and get those. What's that, Ben?
Speaking of Hobie, I gave my neighbor a pair of the whole floats today. One of my the ones that I have.
Yeah.
And he walked out of the water and put these things are like X-ray vision. He's like,
I'm telling you.
Holy crap. I was like, yeah, I've been telling you this, dude. Like, these things are amazing.
Yeah, a good pair of sunglasses are a game changer, especially in the fishing world. And just keeping your eyes protected, man. Like, we're all about that. UV rays and stuff can be dangerous if you're not staying protected with the right UPF gear and right pair of sunglasses. You know, it's super hot right now, but the fish are biting, man. Central North Carolina is a great place to live. Don't move by me. Just trying to keep people. No, I'm just kidding. You can move by us, but man, you're going to need a good real estate agent to get you in a home that you guys are going to need down here. Uncle Terry, we call him Terry Carpenter with Howard Perry Walson and Caldwell Banker. He's a licensed real estate agent. He's also a bass fisherman. He's going to get you in the home of your dreams. If you're looking for a good real estate agent, you can shoot him an email at carpentert@hpw.com, and he'll get you guys in the home that you need and get that bass boat in the garage. And then finally, Waymeyer Group out of Indianapolis, Indiana. We love those guys. They got everything that you need, boat, trailer, part related. So hubs, emergency kits, axles, torsion axles, brakes, every single thing that you need to keep yourself on the road and fishing. Those guys will take care of you. All you got to do is make a phone call. Call them at 1-800-434-4824. They got customer service representatives that actually know what they're talking about when they answer the phone. They're the best in the business. They'll get you taken care of, and they'll drop that stuff right at your doorstep or your Airbnb. If you're on the road, they'll take care of you and keep you fishing. Did I miss anybody?
No, I think
that was it. Sweet, man. Well, it is 972 million degrees in North Carolina right now. But we're gonna talk to our good buddy Seth here. What's up, David Fuchs? What's up, Tim?
David's on, Tim's on. Let me show my boat off first before we
show it.
So, as everyone knows, my boat's been out of commission for 3 months, 4 months. But this is part of the reason why. So that's the wrap that's on it.
Nice.
So
OD green.
Yeah. Cloudy that day. It's so good. But then I picked it up last Sunday, and this is why, because I got the decking on it.
That's
looks
awesome.
good. Yeah, it looks really
we got
good.
the One Cast logo down below. We got the One Cast Fishing up on the center console. So it is now sitting in my driveway. I got the Ultrix put back on. I waited on a new wiring harness because Humminbird likes to nickel and dime everybody and change their ports up. So I got to get a new wiring harness so I can plug everything in. Got my third Explorer on the way, and Explorer 9 for up front, just for mapping and stuff. That should be here next week. And then I got 2 power poles. So hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks, it will be all rigged out, ready to
Looks
get back
good.
to the water.
Yeah, it looks really good.
You did a quick teaser video, but you didn't really follow up with anything after that. I was talking to our buddy Mike Johnson. He's like, man, I want to see the rest of the boat. So I sent him some of the photos, and he was like, dude, that decking material is legit. And dude, if there's always a catch-22. What's up, Nick Kincaid? Good to see you today up there on the lake, bro. There's always a catch-22 with having like Duradeck, vinyl, whatever they call it, versus carpet, right? And I run vinyl on mine, which came with it, right? It's nothing special, but it's really, really nice when it rains because it dries out, real quick. But depending on the foot, and you're going to be better off with that kind of decking material.
And then yep. I know where you're going.
And on the flip side, some of the decking material on some of these boats, man, they get really, really slick when it rains and stuff like that.
So this is I think it's Gator Step is the brand.
Okay.
And it's an EV foam composite. I will say, because I haven't been fishing on it, but put my hand up there today when it's 100 degrees here in North Carolina. That was the thermometer day. So it was like, I think, 110 heat index.
Yes. Ugh.
You could rest your hand on it. If it was carpet, you couldn't do it.
That's nice.
Black carpet.
Yeah.
2, it'll clean faster, and hooks and stuff won't get catching as bad.
Right.
Now, I'll report back when it's slick and rainy and that sort of thing. But it should be better than like that slick vinyl stuff. But
yes,
I'll have to report back on that because I just haven't had it out yet. But I'm very happy with it. I think it looks good. It looks clean.
Mm-hmm.
It took about the way Gator Step does it for anyone who's interested. There's multiple brands out there. I took it to the guy. You got to strip all the carpet and all that glue off, and then they take their pictures and measurements, and then the factory produces it and it comes in. So it's a little bit of time. This is also the guy's side hustle, but he did a great job on it. So
yeah.
Anyone
do they sell kits for specific boat brands?
Yeah,
like,
I think they do have
kit?
some kits for that. They didn't have mine for a kit, but some of the, because mine's 10 years old now, but they do. But he did a phenomenal job on it, and you can kind of see there, like on the edges of the 1-inch edges there. You can't see my cursor, but like on the lids and stuff, they actually put it there too. I will say, it's much louder when you drop the lids, though.
Yes.
100%.
Oh, it is.
So
yeah,
because all that carpet's gone, so you gotta lift it down. Now, I've actually got some gas lifts and stuff on the way to install some of that stuff on the rod lockers and all to help work on that, so I can just let it down.
Put one recommendation is you can throw some of those foam pads in the corners where those shut. But yeah, that was the other part of the catch-22 is like, especially for a guy like Seth Ellis, who's a master at like sight fishing, like everybody knows that it's about the only time that being quiet when you're fishing actually matters. Remember when we were growing up and your dad would yell at you like, or whoever, and be like,
oh yeah,
stay quiet. The fish won't bite it.
That's like noise. That's like noise. There you go.
And then we figure out like the louder the baits, the more aggressive the bite becomes. But
not all the time.
Not all the time. But yeah, definitely when you're sight fishing, it's important to be quiet. And that's the difference between a fiberglass boat and an aluminum boat. That's the difference between, Duradeck flooring, Gator back flooring, whatever it is, and carpet, man. And carpet's truly like, like Seth runs a Nitro Z20, not that I need to speak for you, but like carpet it's comfortable. Like you can go barefoot on it. That's what I like.
But I'll be honest with you. I'd much rather run the stuff that Ben's got, to be honest with you.
We'll take you guys out and you guys can run barefoot on it. So I haven't like fished, obviously I haven't fished with it yet. But it's a little, there's some padding there because it is that foam material. So basically, it's a bunch. I looked into. It's basically like a bunch of air bubbles in there.
Yeah,
it helps make it water resistant and all. So it should be pretty comfortable. I don't think it's going to get as hot as that dark carpet. So that will be nice.
So here's the question though. Now, for you, it might not be the same, but for me, and Trey would attest to this. What were to happen if you were to fish early in the year and it rains and then freezes?
So I don't know. That is the question.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be as slick as the vinyl stuff.
Okay.
No, the vinyl's terrible
because there are some of those pockets. It's not completely smooth. I think like microscopically when you look at it, there's like little bubbles and stuff, but not nearly as much to get like hooks and stuff caught in, right? Like you do in carpet. Yeah. But I don't know yet. So I'll have to, I'll let you guys know next winter. David asked, he had to take all the carpet up, strip all that. And the problem is not taking the carpet off. It's all that glue and stuff that's underneath because you have to make it smooth to lay this stuff down. So that's what took a long time. And look, if you guys want to get Gator Step, Sea Deck, whatever brand of marine decking, there's other places. Like I could have taken it to a place like 2 or 3 hours away probably and had it done a lot faster. But I had to drive 2 or 3 hours. This guy was like 15 minutes down the road.
It looks like he did a bang up job on it.
No, he did a great job on it. Yeah. So it's I'm happy with it. Can't wait to take it out. Can't wait to go out to when we go out to Douglas.
It's going to be pro mode. Like for everyone listening, like pay attention to that MPFL Military Classic. It's September 20th ish,
22nd, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Ben and I are going to be fishing out of his promo boat. My boat hopefully will be sold, and then I probably will be boatless for a minute, which is totally fine. Because that's why you got friends with boats, right? So we'll just jump on their boats and go fishing and stuff like that. But yeah, the boat and the wrap and the new flooring and all the new stuff will be debuted at the MPFL Military Classic at Douglas Lake, Tennessee. Same time Seth is going to be fishing, and we'll let him talk about that. Or he already talked about that. The Strike King Road to the Open Championship, right?
Yeah, it's the week before, I think, at Table Rock.
Table Rock?
Yep.
So once you get done winning that thing, just shoot on over to Douglas, drink a couple cold ones, and then we'll head on back. So,
buddy, if I win that tournament, I can promise you I'll stop at Douglas and drink a bunch of cold ones. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Well, first of all, man, like, so we got America's 250th birthday coming up. Seth, you're up with family in Ohio. Ben, you're at the house. We're here. Pete's hanging out with his in-laws for their for a birthday right now. But appreciate you jumping on here while you're up there with family. We don't want to take all night with you, but wanted to bring you on here. We got some listeners, some friends of ours, the Fuchs are on here and stuff, Nick Kincaid and other people that know you. And some people came down and actually saw you at the Potomac. We can talk about that, but you just got done fishing I think it's your very first Major League Fishing Toyota Series event, correct?
Yeah. I've never fished Toyotas before. Some BFLs back in the day, but This is the first Toyota Series.
So Seth's kind of bouncing around. He's like MPFL, BFLs, Toyota Series, Five Alives. Like you're kind of doing it all. Talk to us about like your whole Potomac, because you went up there and laid some scunning and made the top 25 cut. So yeah, man, like talk to the audience about your mindset going into the Potomac and what you thought you were going to be doing and what you actually did.
So first off, that place is awesome. I've never been there before.
Have you been there before?
No. So my mom is from a small town in West Virginia. So we have some relatives that are from that area, and I've been on it as a kid, but I'd never fished it. Been over it on the bridge, but I'd never fished it. So this was my actual first time being there in a boat fishing it. And man, that place it's probably one of the coolest fisheries I've been to. And I've been to a lot of them, but the history on that place, going down the river, seeing Mount Vernon, Fort Washington, getting ready, you're getting to the 495 bridge, which is the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. And you can see the Washington Monument from the water. That to me, it gives me kind of goosebumps because that's a cool feeling. But anyways, it's a place I'd never been, so I really didn't know what to expect. I knew it was a tidal fishery, and I knew it had grass in it. That's about all I knew. I had done some research, just YouTube stuff, and kind of wanted to get a lay of the land just from seeing it in the videos, but wasn't really going to just put too much into that because things change every day, especially on tidal fishery. So I basically wanted to get an idea of what it looked like and then go from there. Once I got there, I was taken back at how big the place really is. It's a big place, like a big place. I'm from Ohio.
How far can you run?
As far as you want to run, you can
Run
run
down
through
to Christie
DC.
Bay?
Oh yeah, you can run as far as you want to run. Now it's going to take you a long time to get down there, but I think we figured it up one day in practice. If we were to run down to one of the further in creeks, it was about 2 hours, and that would have put you at the mouth of the bay.
Yeah,
But,
I think open source says about 487 miles. Like
to get to Chesapeake.
Well, it just like it just talks about like the length of like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's massive.
It's huge and it's wide. Like I'm from Ohio originally. I grew up fishing the Ohio River, and the Potomac's probably 3 times as wide at its widest point.
You guys put in at Frederick, right?
No, we put in Smallwood.
Smallwood's in
Park.
Mattawoman Creek.
Yep, it's in something Maryland.
Oh, that's okay. Yep.
Marbury, Maryland. And it's a nice. I mean, it's a nice little place to put in. I mean, it's a state park.
So that's south and east of DC.
Yeah. So you got to go north to get to DC and south to get to the bay.
Oh, that's okay. That's not too bad, actually.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was like a 20-minute run to get to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. And then once you got up in there, it was like probably another 20 minutes to get to downtown DC. So not bad at all. But seeing this place for the first time, I was taken aback at how big it was. But it didn't take long to kind of realize what was there. I mean, it had pads, it had hydrilla, it had milfoil, it had eelgrass, arrowheads. There was already places that were already cheesing over where the grass had matted out at low tide. Mm-hmm. So it had a lot to offer. And I knew kind of watching some stuff that it could play both in the creeks or on the main river. So I just kind of started looking, finding what I like to fish, shallow, flipping, frogging, swim jigging. And it didn't take long to get bit. That place is absolutely full of fish. But just like anywhere else, you have to find a zone that has better quality fish, 3+ pounders. And it took me almost 3 days to find them. The last day of practice, I stumbled upon an area that had them, and it carried me through to day 3. I don't really know what happened there, but it was a really little special place. It was just a big milfoil bed that was probably 200, 300 yards long. It wasn't getting a lot of pressure like all the other main areas was. Like Belmont Bay had 20 or 30 boats in it. Mason's Neck had 20 or 30 boats in it. Mattawoman had 30 or 50 boats in it. Occoquan Bay had 50 or 60 boats in it. So there was a lot of boat traffic in these very well-known areas. And I knew I don't fish well that way. I do not fish well in a merry-go-round, and I don't like watching other people catch them. And ironically, I did that the first day. I watched guys all around me catch them, and even my co-angler had 4 before I had 1, and then he had a limit before I had 2. And I told the guy, I said, "Look, man, I hate to do this to you, but I got to bounce." And I rolled up to the other area, and I put all my weight in the box in like 45 minutes, and I knew it was special. But basically, that's how I approached it, right? I tried to find the ways that I like to fish up in the creeks and on the main river, and I tried to find stuff that was away from people. And you can there because there's so many little chutes and cuts and ditches that when the water's up, you can sneak in, and as it starts to fall, you sneak out. That's the cool thing about it. Those fish follow the water in, and they follow it out. So
I know this is your first time there, but with the drought and all, because we were talking last Friday, and I got confused. I thought we were talking about the James first. The James is really low, but then I looked at Potomac's flow is really low too.
Yep.
I know it's your first time there, but based upon dock talk, experience, and just watching the water, like how do you think that low water affected the fishing?
Well, it didn't allow you to access some areas at all. So they said that most of the locals there that I spoke with in practice said that it's about 2 feet low from normal flow. So basically, you'd have a ditch that might have a foot of water in it at high tide, and when it's bottomed out, there might have been 40 yards of dry ground to get to it.
Wow.
So from talking to after the event, talking to some of them. Some of those fish never went up in those ditches. They just stayed on the main river where there was a wall of grass or a hard spot. versus if there was 2 feet there already on high tide, it would put 4 or 5 back in those ditches and they would follow it out, but they didn't. And then even some places that were accessible, I didn't feel like there was a lot of fish in those places. And like I talked to Poche the final day, he ended up winning the event and he was doing that. He was in ditches, but he's like, I'll be honest with you. He said I had been here in the past, and he said, man, you go in these ditches at high tide and get 60 bites. He said, I'd go in these ditches at high tide and get 6 bites. He said, just the number of fish weren't there anymore. And it showed too, because there were more and more guys that were relating to the main river. Now they might be fishing the mouths of these ditches, which is what a lot of guys were doing, but there were a lot of them on the main river because most of those fish had moved their way out quick with the lack of water in those places.
So as you're gearing up for practice, obviously you kind of, before you left here, you rigged up. I talked to you about it, and you basically put like the staple baits on your front deck or in your rod locker, the swim jigs, the frogs, stuff like that. But going into it, like, is from a breaking it down practice style, like how did you break it down? Did you use Google imaging? Did you use your Hummingbird mapping? Did you use, like, how did you break it down? Like, really, what were you looking for?
So I used all 3 of those. I used Google imaging. I used 2 different mapping sources. And then I used YouTube, right? So those were the things I used to kind of break the fishery down.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to see was how it laid out. Obviously, it's a river system and there's current involved, but it's a big river system. It almost fishes like a lake because it has these big giant bays that are off the main river channel, right? So these bays are sometimes a half a mile long, a mile wide, and fish can congregate anywhere. They don't have to live on the main river because of the flow of the current. So I basically wanted to see how it laid out. I wanted to see what type of vegetation it had, and then I went from there. So basically, once I realized that a lot of the big creeks now, like you have Mattawoman and Belmont Bay and Aquia, those are probably the 3 most well-known creeks on that river system. And you could tell it because there was 20 or 30 boats in those places at all times.
Yeah.
Now the grass was a lot more developed or had grown better in those creeks than it had on the main river, but it also had gotten a lot more pressure.
Yep.
And knowing that too, I wanted to kind of get away from that because you got to figure you're not practicing for a 1-day event. You're practicing for 3 days. And a lot of times if you can find a place like that doesn't get a lot of pressure, it will hold up for 3 days and even longer because hundreds, if not thousands of fish live in those grass beds because they offer so much. I mean, at high tide, you'd see brim, you'd see white perch, you'd see ringed perch, you'd see small bait fish, you'd see fry. And at low tide, you could see bluegill beds, you'd see it all, right? So there's so many fish in these areas. So knowing that, going into practice, I basically just wanted to find an area where I could spend 3 days because it's a big place. And if you get or try to get into a rotation of running tides, which I'm not good at, I've tried it on the James and it's kicked my teeth in. So I said when I went here, I was just going to find an area that I would sit in and I could just fish low tide, high tide, falling tide, rising tide. It didn't matter. As long as the water was moving, I was good. But even when it was slack, I still got bit. That's how cool this place is because there's not a big fluctuation of tide, 2.5 feet at the most.
Yeah.
So knowing that, I focused on that. And then the baits are anything with grass fishing, but I had one ace up my sleeve that I know a lot of people haven't played with, even though it's been pushed by an individual very, very hard. I knew it wasn't going to get touched, or if it did, it wouldn't be thrown a lot. And I'm sure that a lot of people don't throw this bait in that part of the country. So for me, it was like, all right, I'm going to try all this other stuff. But if I can get them to bite that, then I'm going to kind of settle down to see if they'll really get on this deal. Because then if I do, then I know I can go into an area, even if it does have pressure, and catch fish behind other people because they're throwing different baits.
So before you review that bait to the audience, for everyone listening, if you haven't followed the Major League Fishing format and all the different series that they have, the Toyota series allows every day 3 hours use of forward facing sonar, which in the Toyota series is also kind of marshaled by your co-angler. Am I correct on that, Seth?
Yeah, but that's a big misconception, right? So that's the first thing they said in the meeting. That's the first thing they brought up. The co-angler there is there to fish, not to police it.
Okay.
So now, granted, I didn't even turn mine on.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Did
Yeah.
you use that at all for practice?
A little bit in practice, but even then, like, it's useless, man, because some of these places were so choked out with grass, it didn't help you.
You can't tell.
You
can't tell.
Find now, if you found a flat that didn't have a lot of grass on it, then you could find hard cover. But even then, like I said, I just didn't use it.
Yep.
I'm so comfortable without it. You know that. You guys know
Yep.
that. I'm not a big. And it is what it is. But I fish better without it, so I didn't even turn it on, and it didn't bother me. But yeah, that's the deal. It's 3 hours now that you can use forward facing, but it's a continuous period. It's not an hour here, run 100 miles an hour then, and then run another 100 miles back in an hour. It's 3 hours. So when you turn it on, if you start at 11 and you start at 2, that's all you get. You don't get to start and stop the period.
So even if you run an hour,
It's
counts.
extra time. Yep. Yep.
Okay. That makes sense. David Fuchs said shallow and grass not good for forward-facing sonar. There is a caveat to that. I definitely agree with that. There's definitely there are guys out there that are really, really good using forward-facing sonar, both in forward mode and perspective mode. And they've gotten really dialed in with that. And it's really good. Like a lot of guys in Florida are getting good with it in shallow grass fisheries like that, where they can bed fish. They can find those hard spots that Seth was talking about, maybe in the grass holes, things like that. But yeah, David, I mean, a place like the Potomac River, which I have zero experience on, but if it had as much grass as Lake Toho did, which it has more of it, I could tell you that forward-facing sonar probably wouldn't even have mattered.
Here's the only thing that I'll disagree with you on that. And I didn't do it, but I'm sure somebody did.
The grass lines.
Grass
Yes.
lines.
That,
And perspective grass lines.
If you can perspective mode it, and here's the deal. If you can do that and you can see a hole in the grass,
yes.
See, that's the whole key to this deal. When you grass fish, it's not fishing just big grass fields. It's finding irregularities, in the grass, right? Points, edges, holes, things like that. And if you are good with your forward-facing sonar, you can do that. It's not necessarily the greatest tool, but it can be used in grass.
Sure.
The other way it works well when you're in a lot of grass. That's how my lake was a year or two ago. When it's not quite matted out, but it's maybe 2 or 3 below the surface, and it could be 8 foot tall, it could be a foot tall.
Right.
When you're scanning around there, if you're just in a big field of grass, what you will find is just scared and trolling around. There are certain areas that there's a bunch of bait fish for whatever reason it's here.
Yep.
So you can mark that spot, and I have caught tons of fish just kind of blind casting, like, oh, I see a bunch of bait fish on top of this little grass area 50 feet in front of me, and if I scan to the right and left, there's nothing there.
Right.
You throw a worm or something around there 3 or 4 times. A lot of times you get bit because if the bait's there, there's probably going to be some predator fish there. A lot of times in most of our fisheries, that's bass, depending on where you're at.
And you can't see them, dude, but they're there, right? They'll come out of that grass.
Yeah.
That's just like it's no different when they put their bellies in the mud on any of our reservoirs, and you're like, there's no fish there, and then you throw down, and then the bottom completely comes alive.
Yep.
But those hard spots are important. Like if people, and you're absolutely right, Seth. Like when you're fishing grass and you see a hole, well, usually that hole is because that's a hard bottom and grass can't grow there. Or
it's a sand spot.
Or it's a sand spot, right? So those are things that fish will relate to. They can kind of hang out there and ambush bait from those little holes and stuff like that. So spawn in there and things like that. But so you didn't use it at all. So reveal the bait, and then let's talk about day one.
I wish I had one with me, but I didn't. I was traveling, so I didn't bring anything. So the bait is a standard size Strike King hybrid hunter.
Okay.
It is
what color?
It's chartreuse and black. I experimented with a bunch of colors, and I've caught fish on other colors. Trey was with me when I first played with the bait several years ago, and the first fish I caught on it was a 9.6.
That was last year, by the way.
It was last year on Lake George.
No, that was on Orange Lake.
Orange, yeah. So it was a year and a half ago. And I played with it around our house, but just with the lack of grass fisheries, it's tough. I play with it on cypress trees and things like that, but to truly experience the bait in the habitat it's designed to fish in, it's incredible. Trey watched me catch a 9.6 on it, caught another one that was close to 6. Once you understand the power of the bait, then I have a lot of confidence in it. and I knew that was my ace up my sleeve going into that event, because it was like, man, a lot of guys want to just throw a chatterbait. They're confident in chatterbait, which is a great grass bait. It's what it's designed for, and it's caught. There it is.
Yep.
It's caught hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of fish. But I'm telling you, that bait right there is such a sleeper. And if people would just give it the time and put the energy and effort into learning how to fish it, because now I'm not going to reveal that. All right, I'll tell you what the bait is, but there's a certain way that you fish that bait around grass. It is absolutely incredible. And so one of the co-anglers on day 2 was in there. He was high up, 4th, 3rd, something like that. After that day, he's like, man, I hope I get draw with you. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, man. I was like, where are you at? He's like, well, I'm in 4th. I said, I'm not going to be that high. But he's like, man, I watched you put on a clinic with that bait. He's like, that was cool to see. Because we were fishing close, but there was only 2 boats in the area. And he understood the power of it. Like it really is something special around grass. It truly is.
Mm-hmm. Don't talk about, don't let your secrets out there, but I know that you can't. I have a bunch of those baits too, and I've caught some fish on, and they're really great. And if you guys, Todd Castledine really did a good job at promoting that bait a while ago, and he fishes that a lot in Rayburn and stuff. But you're not going to throw that in topped out grass, but you are going to throw that in grass that maybe has a couple feet below the surface or whatever. You can get grass on the bait and stuff like that. But was there a certain type of vegetation you were looking for? Was it milfoil? Was it arrowhead? Was it hydrilla? Like what was really the go-to vegetation for you there at the time? Because it's going to change every day.
Correct. It did change every day, but I did find one consistent in all of it. And there's actually, before I get to that, there are actually 2 types of hybrid hunter. You have a standard, and then you have a shallow version. So the standard version runs 1 to 3, or excuse me, it says 3 to 5. It's more like 2 to 4 on 20-pound fluorocarbon. And then the shallower version runs about 6 inches to 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
So you can literally throw that on that grass that's literally that far under the surface.
Yeah.
If worked correctly. But back to your question. I fished it all. I fished hydrilla, I fished milfoil, and I fished eelgrass. Now, you could get bit in all of it. The hydrilla was hard to find. And when you did find it, you knew it was there because there was 20 boats in an area. The eelgrass was the most consistent as far as just bites in general, right? It didn't matter if it was a 12-incher or a 2.5 pounder. You could pull up to an eelgrass patch and get several bites in it. But milfoil was the one that I found was the most consistent with quality fish, that 2 3/4 to 3.5 to 4 pound fish. And it wasn't as prevalent. So when you found it, it was a little bit more special, and there wasn't as many guys on it. And that's what I tried to look for. After I stumbled on that place, I found one more little area just like it that was probably the size of 2 houses. So maybe 100 yards long, maybe 50 yards deep.
Yeah.
And I found it was side scan. Just going down a stretch, and I kind of just eased into a pocket, and there it sat, and I caught some fish out of it too. But basically, milfoil was what I found that was the most consistent for quality fish. And if you could find it, not a lot of guys were fishing it.
So you used the old school cheater box to find the milfoil.
Well, yeah, because you got to remember at high tide, some of these places had 7 or 8 foot on them.
Right.
So you could scan them and everything showed up well. Now, if you tried to scan an area at low tide and it was a 3 foot flat, you were in trouble because everything would, I have hummingbirds. That's good stuff, but some graphs may blur it out. I just chose to do a lot of my idling at high tide.
Yep.
Because I've talked to so many people that said high tide's the toughest time to fish there. So I thought, well, why not maximize my time? Yep. It's always, this is what guys told me. You can catch some fish as soon as the water starts to turn, right? As soon as that water starts going out, they'll start biting a little bit, and then it'll kind of slack off. But it gets the strongest current wise the last 2 hours of outgoing and the first 2 hours of incoming. That's the hardest current flow. That's when they like to bite the best. So when guys were telling me that, I was like, well, then I'll just maximize my time at high tide. Yeah, I'll go into areas and look around and throw a frog or whatever. But I chose to use that to graph once I realized what I was doing. and looking for. So that's what I did.
Yeah. What's for the audience, especially around here, we do have some lakes with, we can't tell anybody, but we do have some lakes with hydrilla, which is invasive in North Carolina, and maybe there's some milfoil, coontail, eelgrass, stuff like that. But how do you determine, like, if you were to tell somebody that has no idea what they're looking at when it comes to hydrilla and milfoil, how do you tell the difference between the two?
So hydrilla is really crispy. The leaves are obviously different on it. I mean, if you could pull up a picture, it's easy to tell, but most good hydrilla is hard and crispy, right? It's easy to rip your bait out of, right? It doesn't get balled up. It's not soft. And milfoil is a little bit harder, but it's softer, right? The leaves on it are a little bit different in the way the plant grows, right? So milfoil will kind of grow like this, like versus hydrilla will grow more vertical.
Yeah.
And then as it does, it lays over. Milfoil kind of it'll get patchy and have holes in it. But like if you pull something up, and there's some other off-name grasses that I'm not too familiar with that might look like hydrilla, but you'll know. I mean, it's green, it's crispy, it's tough. It's good grass.
What I noticed with milfoil too, this is my experience, so I don't know if it rings true everywhere else. It will not grow quite as deep as hydrilla.
Correct. Yep. Hydrilla will grow, some places in Texas it gets 15, 18 foot. Same way with New York. If it's got clear water, it'll grow deep.
So in my little lake here, a couple of years ago, they sprayed all the grass. These idiots don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So they sprayed all the grass. And basically what it used to be, pretty much the rim around the entire lake here, about 3 foot off the bank, was a patch of milfoil. It was about a couple feet, 2 or 3, maybe 4 feet wide, and then it got too deep for it.
Right.
Well, that kept all the coontail from exploding. Well, they killed all that, and then that coontail just exploded, and that coontail is growing out in 15, 20 foot deep now. It's just like you guys have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. So you found isolated milfoil, you said about 2 houses, maybe a football field's worth?
Well, my primary area was probably about 200 yards wide and about 100 yards long. And it was just in a bay off the main river. And I found it because another little place that I had found was similar. And I thought, well, let me just go look on the map and see if that's the same way. And I pulled up in there and I wasn't in there 5 minutes, and I caught a keeper and one that was 3 3/4. And I said, okay. And then I just left it. I really didn't even expand on the area because it was a small stretch. The last day of practice, right before, because we have to be off the water at 1 o'clock, I think, or something. I went in there at 12 o'clock and I just like, well, let me just look around. And it was everywhere. And I hadn't seen any boats in there in practice. So I thought I was like, oh man, I found a gold mine, because I made one cast with that hybrid hunter, and I've got a picture of it on my phone. It was a 3.5 and it had it down here.
Oh yeah.
And I sent it to one of the guys I work with at Lou's, and I'm like, it's happening. And he's like, is that the standard size? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh my Lord.
And if anybody doesn't know what the standard size is, it's a big bait. It's not a little bait.
It weighs an ounce. It's huge. But the funny thing is I'm like, man, this could be special, but I didn't know it was there. I started in a place on the first day that I thought was going to be my, make it or break it place, because I got 6 or 8 bites in like 10 minutes on one patch of grass. And I didn't even get a bite there. I spent 4 hours there and didn't even get a bite. So this goes to show you, man, like when you go to practice, you don't know what these places hold.
Yeah.
You kind of get an idea and you're like, okay, this could be good. And then some place you think's really good turned out to be just a flop. And that's what it was.
So day one, you kind of already talked about how your morning started off, but talk about like that, your game plan day one. Like, what was your game plan day one, and just walk us through the entire day.
So I had I was the first, or basically the second flight. I was boat 20. So I knew
you guys had like 150 boats in this tournament?
140 something. It wasn't quite 150. But
Okay.
I was in the first or second flight, and I knew I had to work quick, especially. But the cool thing about a river fishery is, especially with current, you can kind of catch fish all day. But I kind of, having the boat draw that I did, I had to pick of the litter where I wanted to start. And I was like, cool, I'm going to start in this area where I got a bunch of bites, and I'm just going to rock and roll. I started in there, and boats just kind of vroom, vroom, vroom. And I think I looked around, there were 16 or 17 boats around me. And for 3 hours, I watched everybody around me catch fish but me, including my co-angler. And I'm like,
How was
what
your
is going
co-angler
on?
catching them?
He was catching them on a drop shot, which most of those guys do, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm literally 25, 30 feet away from Britt Myers, and he's catching them on a chatterbait. And I'm 100 feet up from another guy, and he's catching them on a chatterbait. And I'm 100 feet from another guy, and he's catching them on a weightless Senko. And I'm 200 yards away from a guy, and he's catching them on a spinnerbait. And I'm telling you, I went through the gamut of baits and couldn't get bit. And I kept forcing it. And I'd move out, and I'd move in, and I'd move out, and I'd move in. And then I'm like, all right, guys are starting to leave. I'll settle down. These fish will start biting around me. No, I stayed for 4 hours. We launched at 6 a.m. I got to my spot at 6:10, and at 10:35, I pulled out of there.
You had one in the box.
I had one in the box, and it was a squeaker 12-incher.
Oh, it's
Like,
12-inch minimum.
Yeah,
there.
there's a 12-inch minimum. It was ridiculous.
Okay.
So
what was your mind like? Were you spinning out at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I used to get that way. And I told my co-angler that day one, I said, man, before I started fishing professionally, I would have been a train wreck.
Yeah.
I said, but I know how fast it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what these places hold. And when I was at what times I was there in practice, I'm fine. And sure enough, I rolled into that area, and within 15 minutes, my co-angler had limited out. I had caught one. And then I just went on a tear, dude. I literally was like 3-pounder, 2 3/4, 3-pounder. I limited out. I got to like 12 and a half pretty quick. And then I just started catching a bunch of 180, 190s. I don't know. I think I ended up at the end of the day, my co-angler said him and I caught over 60 in that one place.
Wow.
Yep. And there was 2 other boats in there. At times a boat would come and a boat would leave. A boat would come and a boat would leave. But it was pretty neat. My co-angler the first day could not believe I was doing it on that bait. He's like, I have never seen that bait before. Where do I get it? Do you have an extra one?
Did you give him one?
I did. I gave him one, and he caught. And he caught a 3.5 behind me on it, which is fine. Yeah. But the funny thing was he just texted me the other day. He's like, dude, I just ordered $200 worth of them. Right. So I did my job. Right. I did my job for Strike King. And that's the biggest thing too. So day one, it didn't start off fast and furious, but it ended that way. Made it back, and I told my wife, I said, if I can be somewhere in the top 50, because I had it right at 14 pounds. I said, if I can be somewhere in the top 50, that'll give me a chance. Because I said, I think I can catch that again to give me a chance to make the day 3 cut. And I was actually, to my surprise, I was tied for 18th, which was unexpected.
Yeah, because I remember having those conversations going into it, and you're like, no, I'm going to need like 17, But you did, summertime fishing, water's low, pressure on the lakes, like all this stuff, and you just have no idea what the weights are going to be.
True.
And so before you move on to day 2, did your co-angler, did you ask him to get the net ever?
Yeah, I did twice.
Did you?
Good.
Yeah. Here's the reason why. The first couple that bit me that I ended up catching were decent fish, but they weren't crazy, but they had the bait choked. So I just boat flipped them. And the first quality fish that I knew I had hooked, I didn't know how he had the bait. So I said, man, can I get the net? And he was good with it, man. Like, he didn't stab it. I got him up there. He just slid the net under there, and it landed. It was like a 320 something. But he had the bait good too. Fished around. And then I get another good quality bite. I couldn't tell how good it had the bait because it never jumped. It stayed down, just kind of ran a little bit. So I'm like, man, this could be a good fish. And it sure was. It was another 3 something. But when he netted it, he didn't have the bait that great. I mean, he still had it halfway in his mouth, but the front treble hook was hanging out. And when the guy netted it, it got buried in the net, and it took me like 20 minutes to get it out. So I never asked for the net again.
What type of net do you have?
One of those rubber coated jobs.
Really? The rubber
Doesn't
the first-
matter.
Yeah, but it's the first net I've used in over 3 years. The NPFL, we couldn't use them.
That's
And
true.
I did use it. Don't get me wrong. And I used it once the second day, and it happened the first time I used it. It got tangled up, and I got 3 big holes in my net about that big. Because I just cut it because I didn't want to fool with it.
Because
now when I go to-
time is money, dude.
For real. I
Time
felt
is
like
money.
that too. I felt like, man, because there were multiple times on the first day when I'd make a cast and I'd catch one and I'd make the exact same cast again and catch another one right behind it because there was a hole or there was a small pot of them right there. Well, when you're fighting the net and and I had multiple rigged up, and some people might say, well, you should have had another bait rigged up. Well, here's the problem. If I throw another bait in there and I catch a 6 and then my bait is still in the hook,
net,
then it's a disaster. Yeah. So I took the time to get the bait out and unhung, but I just told myself, you're just wasting time. So for the rest of that day, I didn't ask for it.
Okay. So you're tied for 18th going into day 2. Day 2, you got a later flight, right? Because they reverse order.
Yeah, I was boat 122.
You burned, I wouldn't say burned, but you smoked, 60 fish or give or take. So what was your plan going into day 2? New water, another area? What was it?
No, so the tide was going to be an hour later than it was the first day. So it got right that they really started biting in that area about 10:45. So I knew I had till about 11:45, but I wanted to get in that area and kind of let people know I was there the first day.
Right. Stake your claim.
So I ran a big bay called Occoquan Bay, which is if you leave out of Mattawoman and go straight across the river, it's a big bay. I found some grass in there and I got a couple bites in practice. They weren't crazy, but I was like, let me just run this stretch to see if it's something I can run back to if I do go the final day. Ran over there and I caught one. I fished it for 2 hours. My co-angler didn't get a bite, didn't catch any, and I ran up to that starting spot. I got in there and there was 2 boats in this place now. And it's not a very big place.
Yeah.
But one was on the tail, on the far end of it, and the other one was up against the bank. So I could go right down the middle, which is where I wanted to go anyways. So I got in there and it wasn't 15 minutes and I caught a 3.5. And I go and I catch another 3.5. And I go and I catch another 3.5. But then it kind of dies off, and then some guys around me start catching them. I end up filling out my limit, and now I'm catching another 25 or 30 more. But there was another boat in there with a local guy who he was leading the final day. I can't remember what his name was, but he was a local co-angler. And I watched this dude smash them in there behind his boater, and he sent his boater into a frenzy. He'd catch one. Oh, yeah. He'd catch one, and the guy would net it for him. He would sit down and tie something on. By the time he got back up and made a cast, his co-angler would have another one. He'd net it. He'd sit down and tie something else on, not even making a cast with what he just tied on before. I mean, he had this guy spun out.
What was he throwing? Do you know? Was it chatterbait probably?
No. The hottest bait on the market.
He was throwing an urchin style bait.
Over the grass.
Yep.
And of course, I'm not paying attention to it. The only reason why I said that was because he was close enough I could see it was dark, but not close enough to make out what it was. And I was doing my own thing, man. I was slinging that plug and doing what I needed to do. Well, at the end of the second day, the other guy, another co-angler who was a local, was in another boat. He ended up making the final day too. And he told me, he said, man, he's like, that's the guy that told me he wanted to draw with me because I put on a clinic. And he's like, did you see what so-and-so was throwing? I said, man, I'll be honest with you, I don't pay any attention to that. He said, man, he was throwing a koiki. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. He's like, they got close enough to me. He was throwing a green pumpkin koiki in that grass.
Yes, sir.
And it made sense, dude, because I'm telling you, I know at one point in time he made 6 casts and caught 6 fish in a row.
Yeah. Yep. And I'll tell you what, if you're a co-angler right now, that is one of the, especially from a finesse, but also the drawing power that bait has. Like, that's like the power wacky worm, if you will.
For sure.
Dude. Like, it is straight up.
Take advantage of it for the next 12 months.
Dude, I'm telling you.
The next 12 months?
Seth, I know you caught caught some big fish on it. you've weighed in a decent fish in a tournament on it, one of the local tournaments here. And I the last 5 times my wife and I've been out, she's sitting in here with me right now. Y'all can't see her, but she's sending me funny videos as we're speaking, so trying to distract me. But that's all I've been throwing, to minus some big jigs and big plugs and stuff like that. Like, it is getting bit. So if you're a co-angler right now, here's a message to the co-anglers. Pick yourself up, whatever it is. I don't have a brand specific, but you can go check out Seth's Whatnot shows when he hosts them. And a lot of times he has those baits on there for sale too, but they are absolutely getting annihilated right now. So good on that guy for doing that.
Yeah, for sure. But Ben, I'm telling you right now, it may be hot and heavy for 12 months, but that bait's here to stay. And the only reason why,
100% it's here to stay. It's going to catch.
It's just guys are going to figure out different ways to rig it.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
like I need to get some. I got some different ways I want to try to rigging it and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like the Wappler Popper 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
Or the
10 years
A-rig or
ago, the
anything
Wappler
else.
Popper came out.
Yeah,
and it killed.
Yeah.
Alabama rig, chatterbait, when it came out, the patent just expired 20 some years ago, 22 years ago. It's going to catch them forever.
For sure.
But it's not going to, it's the heyday right now. It is
for sure.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you.
And before we move into day 3, I will throw this up there. Nick Kincaid, our good buddy, friend of the show, owner of Drop Zone Tackle and part owner in Carolina Waters. We went out fishing today. Nick, if you go to Nick's website, and Nick, you can drop a link in the comment section, but Nick has a lot of those urchin style baits for sale on his website called Quiggles.
Quiggles.
Nick said Trey pulls up this morning, first cast catches one right in front of me on it. And it was no lie, right? Like, he had been there for like 30 minutes and he's working a bottom bait, and I pull right up, drop trolling underwater, first cast, boom, right there, right? Catch another one, right? I must have caught, I don't know, 15 fish on that thing today. It was a lot slower today. And I mean slower as in we've been having like 40, 50 fish days alone. And I still got the same one. That's the one thing I'll say about the bait. Depending on the manufacturer you get, that thing is hardy and resilient. And I'm throwing it, if anyone wants to know, I'm throwing it on a Renow tackle single hook, 3/16 ounce when I'm fishing deep. And trust me, I got more of them coming in the mail. I will tell you that hook for me has been absolutely dominating, catching big fish on that. So Nick said he's going to have some more in a couple weeks. So make sure you guys check that out on rattleshot.com. All right. Day 3. So now, but you went from 18th up to what?
9th.
9th. Yeah. I caught them better. Yep. I caught them better. I had almost 15 that day, and I had lost right before I came in. It was bottom out, low tide. The water was turning, and there was a patch of grass that I could see from a distance, and I kind of threw my bait over there, and I was kind of going in that direction, and 2 3-pounders came out after it at the same time, and I had a shot at either one of them, but they kind of knocked themselves off of the bait, if that makes sense. So I could have probably had more because I weighed in at 240. But yeah, I had almost 15 day 2, and I moved all the way to the top 10. And I honestly thought, I didn't think I could win. I had never seen, the biggest fish I'd caught in 2-3 days there was 3 3/4. I'd never seen a 4+ or anything like that. So, I mean, I'm sure they were there. It just wasn't something I felt confident I was on, but I felt like I could top 10 this event. I said, if I could catch the same weight that I caught day 2, I'd probably top 5 it. Just because by day 3, you've had boats and pressure and different tide changes and things like that. So I went out with a lot of confidence, and I went straight there to burn it down, man. I pulled up there at 6:19. I think it took me to get there. I got there at 6:19, and it just was completely different. It was high. The water was actually still coming in, so the tide wasn't having that high tide yet. And I caught one pretty quick. I missed one on a frog twice. I skipped the same frog up there, and he missed it twice and wouldn't come back to bite it. Fished around, caught one, and it was just slow. I'm like, all right, the water's gonna, once it starts to turn, I told my co-angler, I said, man, this place is special, I'm telling you. And we fish and fish and fish and fish and fish. And I'm telling you, it's like 8:30 and I still got one in the box. I'm like, something's going on. And then all of a sudden I hear, I got one. I'm like, cool. He's got one. Maybe they're going to start biting. I turn around and I'm like, you want the net? And he's like, yeah, I'll take the net. So I just ease on back there. And I said, which side do you want me on? He's like, I think I'm going to bring him around to the other side, which would have been his side, the port side, because we were fishing off the starboard side. And I said, do you want the net? He's like, man, I don't feel that big. I'll just boat flip it. And I'm standing there with the net. And I'm like, okay. Standing there. And he just kind of eases it on around the side and he goes to pick it up. And this thing just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And he slaps a 478 to 4. That's what it weighed on the scales. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, man, I didn't know it was that big. And this kid can fish.
Yeah.
He's got a really good reputation in the Toyota series, but he's been really successful in the BFLs too. So the boy knows how to fish for sure because he's a younger kid. But man, he did that. I'm like, man, you're crazy. He's like, well, I didn't know it was that big. So I'm like, well, good for you.
Biggest fish you've seen all week.
Yeah, but
Caught
here's
out
the
of
thing.
the back of your boat.
And he caught it on some JDM plastic that I had never even heard of before. But here's the thing. I'm like, sweet. If he caught one on that, I'm fixing to work him on this. And it just never materialized. I dinked up 2 more and I had 3. And I stayed till 12:30. And a couple boats came in there and it just was not happening. I will say this. Now, I'm not a big fan of crying over spilt milk. I had 3 good bites, and I'm saying over 3.5 that day.
Dump it.
I lost all 3 of them. And you can't do that in a national level tournament and expect to do well.
Yeah.
No.
But other than that, that's it. I probably had 7 bites all day in that place where before I was catching 7 in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, I did remember staying up on stage that at bottomed out low tide, which is right before I left, I had seen more grass than I'd seen all week, right? So before at low tide, which I had been in there at bottomed out low tide, there'd still be 2 feet below. The grass would still be 2 feet below the water. Here, it was almost topped out. And I'm like, what's going on? It's almost like more water had been sucked out than in previous days.
Well,
And
tides change. Tides get stronger and weaker.
And this has been my first time. It's new to me. So
I wouldn't know to think about that.
Yeah. And I didn't know it either. So the only thing I can think of is there was a zone in this bay that I caught most of my fish in. It was probably 100 feet by 50 feet wide stretch where the best patch of milfoil was. And I stayed in that patch all day. And it'd ease on up and then I'd ease on back. But I stayed majority in that patch because that's where all the quality bites came from. And the only thing I can think of is after the event, when you're driving home, you think about all the things you'd have done different, is I would have just fished further out towards part of the grass that I really didn't spend that much time to, because that's the only thing I can think of is that tide got stronger. They just followed it out further. And I did make that adjustment. But I am proud of myself because at 12:30, I had 4 for 6 pounds. I made a run back to a place where I'd caught them in practice, went down through there, didn't get a bite. My co-angler skips up behind me with a wacky worm on a dock post and catches one. So he's got 4. So now we both have 4. And it's now by this time it's like 10 after 1. So I had a wacky worm laying on the deck. I pick it up, very next dock post, skip to, I catch one. I'm like, cool, I got a limit. At least I'm coming in with a limit. And I was like, man, let's run into Mattawam. And there's this one little place I saw in practice. I said, we'll just fish it. It's just a deep ditch. As the tide's bottomed out, it's a ditch next to an island. We pull up in there. By the time we get over there, it's like 1:30. My co-angler throws out there and he catches one on wacky worm. Calls one out. I help him, wind's blowing, and I just pitch my wacky worm to a little piece of wood that's sitting over there on this flat, and I catch one. I call out. I end up weighing 9 something. But just to make that adjustment at the end of the day, to not completely bomb the event, I was super proud of. But yeah, I mean, that was my day 3 in a nutshell. I'm still not sure that's what's happened with that deal when the tide went all the way out. That's the only thing I can think of. Now some guys there, I did 2 of the co-anglers on day 2 that were in there and never came back on day 3, but they asked me if they bit and I said no. And I told them the scenario and they're like, you probably should have thrown topwater. But the thing about it was I did. I threw a frog in there and I just couldn't get them to bite.
Yeah.
Did they say why? What's the rationale for topwater there?
Just because there's less water over top of the grass. Right before, when there was bottomed out low tide, there was 2.5, 3 feet between the top of the water and the top of the grass. This was maybe 6 inches, a foot at the most.
That's a great, we always talk about time on the water and experience, right? And as much experience as you have, like,
that's something I've never seen before.
Even Trey.
I never seen it.
Trey has, like, tidal fisheries is not our thing. So it's like, it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
It can be.
And here's the thing, like, guys were as I was standing back there at the tanks with the top 10, because they staged us and did all that TV stuff. But all these guys were like, man, I caught them flipping a big weight. I wanted to catch them flipping a big weight, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't find that bite.
Yeah.
I wanted to catch him flipping a big weight. The guy said I think he finished 13th or 14th, but he weighed everything on a 3/4 ounce, beaver style bait with a big weight. I'm like, man, I would have loved to have done that. He's like, dude, I found one stretch. I caught everything off of one stretch.
Yeah, but what was he fishing? He probably didn't tell you, but he might have been fishing completely different vegetation, right?
Well, he just said grass. Yeah,
could have been hydrilla. Could have been.
Yeah, could have been.
Yeah,
but I never found water.
The other thing was Trey. I remember us talking about it, and we're like, 14, 15 pounds would do good. Doggone, Keith had 18-10 the final day.
Yeah,
another guy had over 17 pounds. You look at day 3. There's a lot of.
They called him day 3.
Yeah.
Like, they called him day 3.
We were kind of surprised. I was surprised looking at the leaderboard after. I was like, man, that's kind of.
To see people getting more and more weight as the tournament progresses on a tidal fishery is like, it's not as common.
No, and that's what threw me for a loop, because I kept thinking I was going to need more and more and more. I told you this. I was like, man, I just don't, I don't know how this place fishes. But I would have never thought between the first day and the third day where there would have been a 4-pound difference in cut weight.
Right.
But that's what it was. 4 pounds in 2 days. Yeah. Which was crazy.
Well, dude, you top 25 make it to day 3.
That's awesome.
We also got I just want to throw this out there. Your good buddy, Jamie Caldwell, JC Pro Angler. If you guys haven't checked his social media handles out, 1 Minute Out Business. He's tons. Jamie's got so much stuff going on. Strike King, Lose Pro. All the things. But Seth and Jamie traveled together, and Jamie also made a top 25 cut in that tournament. And, we were kind of joking about it after the fact, but, Jamie also, threw the hybrid hunter around, but he also caught a lot of fish on probably an Ocho or something like that, didn't he? So
yeah, on a wacky worm,
which, you were kind of giving him some crap over on day 2. And then he ends up
saved me on day 3.
It saved you on day 3, and Jamie, he finished pretty well too, and he had some troubles, and we'll try to get Jamie on here to talk about some of his experiences and stuff like that. But he had some jack plate troubles on day 1, so he couldn't really do a whole lot. But man, it was cool to see you jump back in that at the national level, and just, that you belong there. Obviously, you dominate. Yeah, it was a great tournament and stuff like that. I did want to bring up one thing about the Potomac River. I was like looking at some of the history and stuff like that. You know how all different bodies of water have their stories and stuff like that. But allegedly the Potomac is haunted by ghostly soldiers in boats, right? So did you get any eerie feelings when you were up there or anything like that? Like Lake Lanier, like Lady of the Lake type stuff, or no? Okay.
Between Dodge and
Confederate Union soldiers there.
Yeah, but between dodging crab pots and then looking for floaters, I didn't have time to worry about Confederate soldiers in a rowboat shooting the musket at me.
So it wasn't like, have you guys seen that video the last couple of weeks on social media? This guy's going down the lake in the middle of the night. It's in the swamp someplace, Louisiana, Florida. And there's just some random lady standing out in white like this in the middle of the lake. I gotta find
it's a hoax, man. It's gotta be a hoax. It's a hoax.
Because the video is like, what is this lady doing? Just randomly out in the middle of nowhere in the swamp, just going
clickbait. That's all it is. It's clickbait.
It could be. But some of them swamp people,
Well, I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that.
Swamp people you don't know about.
So for all of our friends and newcomers that are listening and stuff, if you go fish the Potomac River, it's also known for giant snakehead.
Did you catch any snakehead?
Did you catch any of those?
No, I didn't. Fortunately, I had one in practice try to tear a frog up, but I jerked it away from him, and I saw him, and I didn't want any part of that.
Have you caught one before?
No, I've never caught one. The only close thing I've caught is a grinnell.
Should have called Fat Cat. He would have put you on those Potomac.
Dude, I have no desire. Those things will tear up baits.
Well, here's the cool thing. Yeah. Listen, folks, if you get your frog torn up by a mudfish or a snakehead, don't throw the frog hook away. You can use it for the urchin style baits.
That's true.
Just go check out every single YouTube video about how to properly rig an urchin style bait, and you'll figure it out that there's 1,000,001 ways to do it. But a frog hook's actually a pretty good way to do it as well. So, so you weren't haunted by any ghostly soldiers. You made a top 25 cut. You caught them the way you wanted to catch them. A wacky worm saved your butt, and you didn't get bombarded with a bunch of ridiculous politicians up there in the DC area. We're super happy about that. So, super pumped for you and your family, man. That was awesome.
Yep.
Where's your before we jump off here? Where's your next stop in the Toyota series?
So hopefully it's the St. Lawrence River in 3 weeks. I'm trying to work out the details for that one.
Okay.
But that's the next tournament. Hopefully I get to go up there because I've been there before and I like how it fishes, and it's just an incredible place. But we'll see. But that's number 2, and then number 3 would be Champlain at the end of August.
Awesome. And then our friends David and Christine Fuchs, you gave them a huge shout out on stage, which I thought was awesome. My wife and I jumped on there to watch you and Jamie weigh in. Super cool for the Fuchs to come down from Joyzy and watch Seth weigh in. So that was really cool, man. That's what makes, podcasting, especially the culture and community we created. That's what it's all about. And the Fuchs are going to come back down. Seth continues to win stuff. It bothers me that I can't beat him that much, but he won the SOBA tournament last year at Lake Norman. The Fuchs come down every year for that. We're going to fish the SOBA tournament again. And speaking of SOBA, Special Operations Bass Anglers, make sure you guys, I got on their team. I'm super fortunate and very grateful for that. We're going to be having the annual Mark McCowan charity tournament at Lake Norman the Friday before Veterans Day this year. So that's in November. Just look at your calendar and figure out what that Friday is. Make sure you guys come up, come down, come over, fish that. It's a great team tournament format. You can fish it as an individual. It's always dedicated each year to a different fallen special operator. David Fuchs said they'll be here this year, and we're looking forward to that. Seth, before we jump off here, where can everybody find you at? And then how can they also find your Whatnot show?
Yep. So my socials are pretty simple. Seth Ellis Fishing, Instagram, Facebook. And then my Whatnot channel is the same thing. Seth Ellis Fishing on Whatnot. I'll be doing a show coming up this week when we get back. I'm up in Ohio visiting some family and things like that for the 4th. But, yep, that's where I'm at, Seth Ellis Fishing. And then, if you guys ever need anything, you can shoot me a direct message for questions about the hybrid hunter, because I know it's just not something that people throw a lot. Yeah. And I'm more than willing to help people out with it, because I'm telling you, it's just a really special bait. It really is.
Sure is. I watched it last year on Orange Lake and was absolutely – I went and Seth also did his job at that time, and I bought like $200 worth of them too. So that's what it's all about, guys. Like, promoting our partners, One Cast Fishing, Strike King Lose, all the partners that we talk about at the beginning of our show. That's what 90% of being an angler is, promoting brand awareness and marketing for those companies that support you the most. And that's how, 10% of it's fishing, man. It really is. Like, and some of the best in the world have struggled for years to catch them at the national level tours, but they're some of the best businessmen and women in the game. And it doesn't matter how they catch them. If they catch them, it matters how much you sell. Right. Yep. So make sure you guys are following along with Seth. Ben's going to do a promo of his boat. We're going to take that to Douglas Lake for the MPFL Military Classic. We got some Bassmaster or one more Bassmaster Open for this year up in Buffalo, New York. Looking forward to that. And Seth, hang on the line here while we end the show. Appreciate you jumping on with us, brother. Ben,
Absolutely.
you good?
Thank you.
Anything?
I'm good to go. Let's close it out.
All right, guys. Thank you for helping us continue growing a culture of anglers, helping anglers one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.